In this tutorial, I'm going to introduce the Greeble plugin and how it can be used to make abstract models. The example in this video is going to be the Death Star. To start off, we want to go to this website, max.clanky.com, and download the most recent version of Greeble. To start off our model, we want to draw in two spheres. The first one is going to be our main geometry sphere, which will be our larger. The second sphere we're going to model in will be smaller. This smaller sphere will be used to cut the hole out of the Death Star. So what we want to do once this is modeled in is move it to overlap partly into the bigger sphere. From here we can change the color of our cutting sphere to differentiate the two. Then we want to go to our modifier list, scroll down and find Boolean. Now that we're in the Boolean menu, we want to have our main red sphere selected. From there, we're going to find the subtract modifier, which is going to be the blue one. And then from there, clicking on our smaller cutting sphere will remove this area from our main geometry sphere. As we can see, we now have the base geometry of the Death Star sorted, but it's missing all the different texture and layers and buildings that extrude out of it. So this is where our Greeble plugin can come in. What we want to do is select our sphere, go to the modifier list and find Greeble. What this plugin is going to do is it's going to take all the faces from the grid of our shape and it's going to extrude randomly off those faces. Right now the extrusion is coming a bit far off the sphere for what we would like, so we can scroll down to our panels menu and from there we can adjust our heights and tapers. We can also scroll further down to widgets and adjust all the little shapes coming off the extrusions. So what we can see now is our sphere is starting to look a bit more like the Death Star. What we want to do is remove all of the extrusions from within the circle that was cut out of the face. To do this, we're going to start by going to our modifier list and finding Poly Select. In this modifier, we can choose faces, and when we drag over, we can select all the individual faces of our shape. Adding a Greeble plugin on top of our Poly Select will add this just to the area that's been selected, shown in red. But what we want to do is only select the faces outside without selecting any of the faces inside the cutout, which is difficult to do with the selection box. So we're going to have to find a new method to not select any of the faces inside. Going back to the start, we're going to draw in our blank sphere again, this time adding an edit poly modifier to that and using the face selector to grab all of the faces of our original sphere. From here, we can scroll down to the Polygon Material IDs tab. And here we want to set a specific number to our first sphere. We can then repeat the same process for our smaller sphere, this time giving it a different number in the Material ID tab. Now with both of our Material IDs set, we can repeat the process from before where we overlap the two spheres and use Boolean to cut the smaller one out of the big one. Now with our cut geometry selected, we'll add a Mesh Select modifier and click on the face parameter. From there, we can scroll down to the Select by Material ID tab and put in the number used for our biggest sphere. This will select only the faces outside of the cutout. And once again, we can add our Greeble plugin through the modifier list to only add the extrusions from our selected faces, leaving the inside empty.